Hi, I'm Monte Cook. 16 years ago, I published one of the biggest, most deluxe, best-received campaign settings of all time. Ptolus is... You can read all about Ptolus on the Kickstarter page. The setting, the content, the beautiful embellishments, and you should absolutely read that. But maybe right now, I'll just talk to you gamer to gamer. Rather than explain what Ptolus is, I'll tell you why I created it. You see, before it was a huge book with all sorts of add-ons and bookmarks and things, it was just my personal campaign setting. I created it just for my players and I, as I worked on the new edition of D&D. I wanted my campaign setting to embrace my two loves, urban adventures and dungeon adventures. But I didn't want just the typical setup where you go to the dungeon and come back to town and then have a separate adventure there. I wanted to interweave those two concepts tightly, so the PCs could go back and forth between the two easily and frequently, and so I could create adventures that involved both. I wanted to do something that captured the very essence of the genre. I'd run plenty of dungeon adventures before, but I wanted to distill the concept down to its very core. I wanted a dungeon, but something so big that different groups go down into it all the time. Sometimes they make it back, sometimes they don't. I wanted the dungeon as its own kind of wilderness to be explored. To tie this into an urban setting, I wanted to capture the feeling of a gold rush town. But instead of people mining for gold, they're exploring a newly discovered mega dungeon. I populated the city with people and groups that would interact in interesting ways with both the dungeon delvers and the dungeon itself. So it's a big, storied city that turns out to be built above a massive system of underground tunnels, passages, and chambers. And then, atop the whole thing, I put the Spire. The Spire makes it a campaign setting where the big, climactic end of the campaign, which is the tower at the top of the Spire, hangs over everyone's head, both literally and metaphorically, even at level 1. By the time I made Ptolus into a product, I'd been playing in that world for 6 years or so, and for much of that time, I was playing twice a week. That means I had a really good idea of what GMs would need to run games in that city. I knew what the players would look for and need. I included quick descriptions for common NPCs the PCs might encounter in a particular district. I created page references in the margins so that when a character, group, item, or location is mentioned, you know immediately where you can find more information on that. I created diagrams that show how the various organizations in the city interrelate. Despite it being one of the biggest RPG books ever, I also wanted it to be one of the easiest to use. I'm gratified to have heard over the years that GMs have found it to be as fun and useful as I'd hoped. I've heard about so many great Ptolus campaigns that people have run, and each one is different because there's so much material there, and still so much room for a GM to make it their own. And now, here in 2020, with the help of my amazing team here at MCG, and hopefully with your help as well, I'm going to make this book available again, redesigned for both 5th edition games and Cypher System games. Really excited to open the gates of Ptolus once again. Want to come in?
Welcome. We'd like to show you how to play this game.
Mind Management, the psychic espionage game, is a hidden movement game for 2 to 5 players that plays in less than an hour. One player takes the role of the Mind Management Recruiter, a shadowy organization that uses highly trained psychic agents to influence world events. The opposing players team up as the Rogue Agents, resistance operatives intent on keeping minds free. So, while Mind Management moves in secret, trying to warp minds and recruit more agents, the Rogue Agents must work together by moving around the board, asking questions, and revealing information about where the recruiter has been, all in an effort to pinpoint the exact location of the Mind Management Recruiter. The Rogue Agents are armed with psychic abilities of their own and unique, infinite-use mental note tokens. But they're also up against the unkillable Immortals, who protect Mind Management and can also recruit new agents themselves. If Mind Management can gain 12 recruits or evade capture long enough, they will control the definition of truth and win the game. Mind Management introduces the Shift system, where the losing side opens a package that contains new, game-changing items. Nothing is ever destroyed, and everything is reusable. Mind Management, the psychic espionage game, is a tense, paranoia-fueled game of deduction and second-guessing from off-the-page games. Do you have what it takes to shut down Mind Management for good?
The Durrani Empire has collapsed, and the great game begins. Whirligig Games presents the second edition of the critically acclaimed tabletop experience, Pax Pamir. Players will assume the role of 19th century Afghan leaders attempting to forge a new state while contending with the British and Russian superpowers who are using the region as a theater for their own rivalries. Pax Pamir is a straightforward tableau builder in which you will purchase cards from the market and play them to your court. Every card played will introduce units to the map and grant you access to additional actions. History comes alive as you deploy armies, demand taxes, and engage in espionage in order to navigate the ever-shifting alliances that emerge and shape the political landscape. In Pax Pamir, the fate of Central Asia lies in your hands.
So long ago that none remember its name. From its ashes rose the Khanate, whose citadel guards the last aquifer. In the heart of where Asia and Europe meet, the immortal Khan commands that only the most worthy may drink from its waters. Thus, the hordes ready themselves for battle. Exiles wander in from faraway lands, looking for mercenary work, just for a drink of water and a safe space to sleep. War is upon them all. Win and lead your people onward. Die and be forgotten. Ruination offers a unique take on area control and civilization building mechanisms using an innovative action selection system. Unique advantages and units create emergent asymmetry as you forge a strategy to match one of the many paths to victory. Bolster your armies with powerful units and exiles. Gather resources to acquire advantages from the wreckage of the world before and march across the wasteland to war. Here, only the strongest and most resourceful horde will rule beside the Khan in this new world. Are you ready to enter the world of Ruination?
I'm Griffon. I'm the creator of the Griffon Saddlebag. I design, write, illustrate, and post magic items every day for 5th edition online. And until now, these magic items have existed almost entirely in digital space, on Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, or Patreon. But with your support, we can bring them to life as a 200-page compendium for the first time, complete with 365 game-ready, illustrated magic items that have been categorized into detailed item and random treasure tables. It also includes 12 new subclasses, new settings, and more. And of course, this wouldn't be a Kickstarter without stretch goals, so be sure to check those out too. This 5th edition supplement puts more magic items at your fingertips than any official book. So if you've ever struggled trying to find that one item to reward or incentivize your players with, this may be the book for you. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for you. People who have come together around the world's greatest role-playing game. So, thank you so much for being here, for being a part of this community, for all of your support. And together, let's make this thing.
Hey everyone, I'm Rob.
And I'm John.
And we're here to tell you that Rival Restaurants is back for seconds. It's a brand new expansion pack that we can't wait to tell you about.
But before we do, we want to take a moment to say thanks to you, the Kickstarter community, from the bottom of our hearts.
And stomachs.
It was your support that first brought Rival Restaurants to life. So thank you. But if you're new here, you're probably wondering, what is Rival Restaurants?
Rival Restaurants is a fast-paced, competitive restaurant-owning game for 2 to 6 players where revenge is a dish best served cold and hot. In Rival Restaurants, you'll pick a chef and restaurant, each with unique powers in your quest to become the hippest spot in town.
You'll compete for ingredients to cook recipes which earn you popularity points. The first restaurant to reach 20 popularity points is crowned the winner and wins the game. And just like in a real restaurant, you'll have to manage your budget, take out the garbage, invest in upgrades, and occasionally sabotage the competition by, infesting them with rats, calling the mafia, or ordering a ninja attack. Pretty standard practices in the restaurant industry.
Rival Restaurants is an asymmetrical, real-time strategy and
Whoa. English, please.
Sorry. Basically, there's a lot of ways to win, and the best part is you never have to wait for your turn. Because in Rival Restaurants, it's always your turn. After all, in the restaurant world, time waits for no one. And that's Rival Restaurants.
So, what's new in the expansion? Plenty. Back for Seconds features 8 new chefs, 6 new restaurants, along with all new recipes, not to mention brand new action cards. But the biggest new addition is
the event deck. Every other day, there will be an exciting global event that will affect every player and force them to adapt their strategy on the fly. You might be rolling in the dough with double income one day, or be forced to go on a walk to remember to the Mystery Mart on the next. Or perhaps the Infinity Mitten will descend upon you, and oh snap, half your ingredients just got destroyed because it is inedible.
Even though Rival Restaurants has a ton of replayability with unique chefs, restaurants, and action cards, the event deck is sure to be an exciting addition with new layers of strategy, comedy, and of course, fun.
So what are we waiting for? Let's get cooking!